Hello there, I am back on Facebook on my daily walk with Sebastian, and today I like to talk to you about our stories. So I'm just going to give it a few seconds, maybe 30 seconds, so other people can jump on this live video. And I hope you're enjoying these, by the way. If you are enjoying them, let me know. Go ahead and like and share, just so we can help more people. And I'll keep on doing these live video calls, and that means you can ask me questions at the same time. It was great yesterday. We went for about 30 or so minutes, whereas about 15, 20 minutes of good content, and then answering your questions. So I hope you've been enjoying them. So today, as I said, we're going to be talking about, it's a bit hard with the light right now, about the stories that we tell ourselves and how they have an impact on our life. Okay, so you ready for it? Who's ready for it? If you're ready for it, let me know, and then I know that you're putting everything else down, you're paying attention, and we can start to make this shift in our consciousness to achieve the type of goals that we want. Okay, I think we're about ready to go. So I'll be answering questions very soon, but let's go straight into this topic of, do the stories that we tell ourselves empower us, or do they hold us back? So first of all, what do I mean by the stories that we tell ourselves? Now, when I work with my one person is saying yes, they're ready to learn. So that's great. That's all I need, just the one person. We've got quite a few viewers, but let's go straight into it then. So what do I mean by the stories that we tell ourselves? They're the things that we think about most of the time when it comes to our issues that we experience, or the goals when it comes to living the life that we truly want. Okay, so what story are you telling yourself more consistently when it comes to your present situation? Okay, so what kind of stories are we telling ourselves in the daily life about our situation that we're not quite happy with? So let's have some examples. So if you haven't got the money right now, what are you saying to yourself most consistently? Are you saying things like, I'm never going to get out of this debt? Are you saying things like, the money's a bad thing, or I can't get that job, or if it's about weight loss, is I can just never let go of the weight that I have. I just keep on eating, and you're like maybe saying those kind of stories. So that's the first initial part. Our stories that we're telling ourselves is the thoughts that we're having consistently throughout our day when it comes to the issues that we're experiencing and want to let go. Okay, so if you're saying those scarcity thoughts and you're feeling them, which makes it even worse, you begin to live out that story. Now, the other example is this. If, for example, you've gone through a bad experience in the past, and it could be literally anything, and if you have that bad experience, you can allow that one-time experience, or that experience of, it could happen more than once, to be your story in life. I remember my story was, every time I get up to speak in front of people around my friends, it reminded me of when the teacher made me stand up in front of everyone, and I blamed her for making me do that and giving me this self-consciousness and this anxiety, this blushing and low self-esteem. It was almost like I was living that story because of a one-time event. And we've got to ask ourselves, is it worth keeping those stories that we repeat to ourselves? Have you ever caught yourself repeating your stories to others? Or do you know someone in your life who just continuously carries out the same old behavior, saying the same old things, and not willing to do anything about it because they're buying into that story so much that it almost gives them meaning? So they're getting meaning from telling that story. They're getting meaning from that past experience or a thought that they're having, the feeling that they're having. And I'm not trying to say this to disempower you, but more importantly, to wake ourselves up to what's happening on the inside, and that ultimately we have a choice. So the choice is, are we living our story of the past, or are we creating the story of what we want now and in the future? Put it this way, at the end of our life, as we look back, what story do you want to live by? What story, and who do you want to be in that story? Do you want to be the person who always blamed that teacher for having that anxiety and worry like I did? Do you want to be that person who always blames the financial economy or the past husband, girlfriend, wife, family, whatever it is? Do we want to be that person who has that story replaying and replaying and having an effect on their present situation? Or, in turn, create a story which empowers you? A story that is the truth of what you want to live, like your own personal truth of who you are as a person, as a way of being in this world, that allows you to not only shine as a person, but to shine up the light in everyone around you. That's the clear distinction we have to be clear on. What stories are we telling ourselves on a daily basis? Because if you go down the left route of buying into your past stories, your past experiences, no matter how legitimate they are, so I'm not saying that those past experiences are meaningless, because they were, I went through them, but are we going to choose to keep them and give life to them and to actually allow that past situation which has an effect on us to be the main theme in your life? I mean, think about it. What are the common themes in your life? I mean, when I work with my one-to-one clients, I really dig deep on this because I want to get as much clarity as possible, and I figure out what's happening in their history when it comes to their beliefs, their self-talk, their feelings, their experiences, and what's really repeating. What's the story that they're living by that once we let go of that will allow them to be a new way, that will allow them to get rid of that story and allow them to be their true potential. I mean, we are full of that potential. I really believe that you as a person has the ability to make the changes that you desire and absolutely deserve. So we have to be very conscious, because guess what? This usually happens at a deep unconscious level. You will catch yourself telling in your own mind or to other people that story of why you are like you are or how you've ended up into this situation. Once again, I'm not saying that those situations are not meaningful, because they absolutely are, and they have cultivated us to a certain point, and I've gone through many of them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to refuse to live by the story of my past or those things which happened to me which caused me to be a certain way. Instead, I'm going to position myself from a place of power. I'm going to think about, what story do I want to tell in this world? What story do I want to be saying every day which allows me to grow in a way which allows me to be a victor of my life? Because many people can fall into that victim trap. So what do I mean by that? Where we have reasons and excuses as to why we are like we are. It's a very natural thing, a natural human behavior that we all do pretty much. We have reasons for why we are like we are because we go through experience. If we have that past experience, and because of that past experience we get meaning from it, it gives us a reason as to why we are like we are. That's just natural. But if we do it in a positive way, like those positive events, that's awesome. But when we do it to those negative events, that really holds us back. That just makes us live that story of disempowerment. And what I want for you is a story of empowerment, a story which allows you to be the best you can possibly be. So the story here is, what stories are we telling ourselves? What story do you want to tell yourself? Are you someone who wants to be that powerful person, that loving person, that person who wants to shine up their own light in the world and give others that example? Because if so, we have to position ourselves away from being a victim. So the person who says, I can't change because of my past, the person says, I'm like this because this happened, despite it being maybe a bad event, we do not have to define our life by our past. Instead, we can position ourselves from victim to victor. When we become the victor of our life, we are taking control over our life. And if that's, you could say that's the one underlying thing which truly transformed my life, and the underlying message of all that I do is I want you to take the power back. Rather having reasons for why you are, I want you to really have that responsibility, that ownership, that means you have control over your life. When you have control over your life, you then dictate your results. When I was writing my book, Be Your Potential, it was years ago. I mean, when I first started it, I was just writing, and this sentence came out, just like, it just kind of came out of me. And it was, rather being a product of life, allow life to be a product of what you choose to create. So rather being a product of life, allow life to be a product of what you choose to create. And in the same tone, you can go, well, it's not what life brings to you, it's what you bring to life. So what story do you want to bring to life? What story are you going to bring to life, that same common theme that keeps us held back as a person, as a way of contributing in this world? Or do you want to allow your story to be something which empowers you and empowers others? That, to me, is immensely powerful. Ultimately, positioning ourselves from victim to victor, allowing us to go, rather allow my life, my past to dictate who I am and where I'm heading and to really be my identity, I'm going to actually assume responsibility and radiate what I want in this life. It may not happen straight away. It might not happen next week. But I can promise you, when you begin to create who you want to be in this world, and you cultivate your thoughts, you catch yourself when you say those stories to yourself, you catch yourself when you're saying it to other people, when you're maybe complaining about your situation, or when you're generally getting in that scarcity mode. When you're in that scarcity mode, you're just reinforcing the same old behaviors, because those thoughts, those feelings have an effect on your neurology and ultimately your behaviors, and those behaviors dictate your results. So what we want to do is cultivate our thoughts that give us more freedom. So things may not be going right now, but I know that I'm going to do whatever it takes to get bigger and better in who I am as a person. I'm going to invest in myself through time to catch myself when I'm repeating that story and go, this is not my story. I'm refusing to live by the past, and I'm going to refuse to allow the past to dictate who I am as a person. Instead, I want to be able to project and radiate in my life my truest meaning in life, that loving self, that part of you which is always present. And that's the thing I really believe as well, that despite our present situation, I think deep down on the inside we have it all. It's always there, that unlimited confidence, that fulfillment, that happiness, that success, that money, that relationship that we want. It's always there within us. We have to shine a light on it, and it's impossible to shine your light on your desires when you're shining that light on all the things of your past, all the reasons, all the excuses, all those things. And it's a hard talk. It's a hard thing that we got to wake up to, because it really means like, oh, I can't live by that past story anymore. What do I do? And it can feel very weird on the inside. It doesn't feel congruent because we're living by that story for so long. But what we have to do is go, look, at the end of the day, the long-lasting results comes from those who take responsibility for their life, those who do something, create change, and go for the things that they want, whether it be cultivating their thoughts, whether it be investing in themselves, whether it be working out. What are we doing on our daily habit to create the story that we want? Are we going for that walk? Are we going for that run? Are we going to the gym? Are we nourishing ourselves with the right foods? Are we surrounding ourselves by those who actually nourish us and we can actually learn and grow from? Are we turning off the TV and putting more time into reading a book or a podcast or so many things out there for free? I mean, you can even invest your money into these things to create that new story. I mean, it's all there within us. We just have to position ourselves, assume responsibility, and to refuse to buy into society's expectations of us, our family's expectations of us, even our old past expectations of us based on our past experiences. We just really have to assume that responsibility to be who we want to be and cultivate the behaviors, the thoughts and feelings. And it all starts by just doing a bit by each day, catching yourself in the act, and then turning it around and go, look, this is not my story. When you hear yourself repeating that past story, you stop yourself right there because it's happening unconscious. So you've got to really catch yourself. But when you catch yourself, you direct your attention, you shine that light off your excuses, off your reasons, off your past, and on to your future and where you're heading and who you are on the inside. You fill yourself up and radiate your truest desires, and it all starts by catching yourself. And at first, as I said, it can be hard, but with each day you do it, it gets easier. And the great thing about your wonderful mind and body, if you do anything with consistency, it will take it on naturally for itself, like walking, driving, whatever it is, it will do it at an unconscious level all by itself. So we just have to have that, first of all, conscious consistency. So let me just talk about that very quickly. So usually things happen at an unconscious level about our issue because we've been doing it for so long that we don't know what's happening. We don't catch ourselves when it comes to that repetitive story. We don't think about these things. It just happened, they're running beneath the surface. We might experience like the top of the iceberg, but deep down it's happening all beneath the surface. So what we do is we start to become more consciously aware of what we're doing. As soon as we start to be consciously aware of what we're doing unconsciously and starting to switch our attention onto what we want, when we begin to refuse to buy into that reason or excuse or a past disempowered story, we begin to put our attention onto our desires, onto gratitude, onto self-worth and self-love, and radiate it for our system and go, when I leave this life, what story do I want to live? I want to be that warrior. I want to be that empowerer. I want to be that person who brings light into this world to give joy to myself and others. When we do that, we switch things over. And that's when we start to become more consciously competent at what we do. It's almost like when you see a child. At first, they kind of fell down walking because they couldn't do it. But after a while, they start to just kind of put one foot after another. And each time they do that, it gets easier for them. They're not doing it fluidly or naturally, but they're doing it. And as they're doing it, after a period of time, it could be a day, it could be a week, it could be any kind of time. But with that consistency, guess what? It happens naturally. Now that child is just walking by themselves and they're not even thinking about it. And that's what I'm talking about here. We need to be able to catch ourselves in the act when we're telling our story of all the things which disempower us, all the reasons. Switch that story into the true story that we want to project in this world. And as we do that, over time, being consciously competent at what we do, we will then begin to do it at an unconscious level. That's where we get unconscious competence. That's the key. So all I want you to do, if you take anything from this live video, I want you to consider what stories are you telling yourself on a daily basis when it comes to your issue, your situation. And ask yourself, are they empowering you or are they disabling you? Are they holding you back or are they setting you free? Are they making you move closer to your goal or further away? Ask yourself that question, and if you see that common thread, we've got to wake up to it. We've got to wake up, pay attention, and switch the story round and shine the light on the story we want to actually create in this world. That's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I think that is one of the first steps of changing is to get very clear of that. So I want to thank the 185 or so people watching this right now. We're over 20-minute mark. It's always around between 20 and 23 minutes where I start to realize it's almost time to stop. But if anyone's got a question right now, I will, if I just readjust the leash with Sebastian. If you have, thank you, Mike, for saying, great as usual. I'm pleased that you enjoy that. I mean, I love talking about this. And as I said, if anyone has a question about this or anything else, in the next few minutes, I will do my very best to answer them. If there are no questions and you're just kind of contemplating what I just said about your story, the stories we're telling ourselves, awesome. So I'll just give it a few more seconds, a few more minutes before we go to the next one. Thank you, Sarah. I'm so pleased that you're finding it very motivational. That's awesome. That's the plan. I want you to be able to utilize this and nourish yourself. I mean, as I'm waiting for any questions, if there are any, here's the reason why I'm doing this, and I think this is going to be awesome for us. First of all, me doing this every 3-4 times a week, it gives me more joy in the world. It allows me to get my thoughts out there, to help people, and it also keeps us all accountable. It causes us to look for that daily motivation that we need. Okay, so that's why I'm doing this. So if you have questions, I will answer them. I'll do these 3-4 times a week. So Sue says, over worry, overthinking. Okay, so when it comes to that, I think we've got to be clear on what thoughts we're having. What thoughts and feelings are we having, and what's the intention behind that? So usually when it comes to worry, we're thinking of everything which we don't want to happen, right? It's like anxiety. We're focused on all the things that we don't want to happen. So we're creating all the images in our mind. We're thinking of all those things we don't want to happen, what people think of us. What we have to do the reverse anxiety effect, where we think of all the things that we do want to happen. If you do that consistently, and there's what I suggest. Every night as you go to sleep, you learn from your day. The next day when you wake up, you spend 5-10 minutes in rehearsing how you want your day to go, which will be the reverse anxiety. So ultimately, rehearsing what you want, like anxiety is, but in the positive, that will start to let go of the over-worry and overthinking, because you're pre-teaching your mind and body how you want to be in this world. So Luigi says, where are you from? I am from Cambridge in England, although many people say I have a bit of a twang to my voice sometimes. I blame the hypnosis. So Tara says, my story is I'm not likable, still suffering from being bullied at school 20 years later. Exactly. And that's really, well, my situation was different because I wasn't bullied. But from school, I really kind of buyed into that. And what I would probably do is go into my app. Now, there is a paid option, which is for about $2.99, I think, and it's for Good Enough and Self-Worth Hypnosis MP3. That would be really, really ideal. I've got longer stuff, more expensive stuff, but I like to keep things as affordable for you guys as possible. But also check out the free stuff. Type in confidence, and that will come up. Loads of hypnosis there, and that will start to retrain how your mind works. Okay, let's see. Yes, I am walking my dog again. It's kind of one of those common things. They need taking walks at least twice a day. So that is exactly what I do. What do I think about meditation? I think meditation is absolutely awesome. Really is. It gives you more. Everything that I do when it comes to hypnosis or self-development, it's about putting your attention on the inside universe of you rather than the outside world, which is programming us. So meditation is a form of putting our attention on the inside to give us clarity. Now, I haven't been doing it as often as I like, but I try to do, with my wife, 10 minutes of meditation to just get that clarity. It sets up your day perfectly. So meditation is awesome. Mike says if you can't control it or you can't change it, learn from it and then release it. Awesome. Learn, learn, learn. When you learn, you're updating your system. Oh, please, that helps, Sue. You are correct, but lots of hard work. Let's put it this way, Sue. Hard work is always a good thing as well. I am a big believer in hard work. When it comes to all my work I put out, I've got like 200 hours online, all for free, and it came from hard work and dedication. And when it came to letting go of my anxiety, my blushing, it comes from hard work and practicing. When it comes to all the clients who I see on a one-to-one level, they may pay me money, but they've got to apply what I'm saying. Yes, we can supercharge it when it comes to hypnosis and my processes. So when we do it that way, then yes, we can supercharge it, and they can do that for my free hypnosis as well. So I'm not saying you've got to buy things, but you can supercharge things with the higher level you put into it. But yes, hard work is awesome. That's what I do, and I think it's a great way. So lots of hard work, which is great. Thank you, Janet. That is very kind. I like to think so too. Lots of fun as always. So we are at the 26-minute mark. Okay, I'm just reading this, so excuse me. Yeah, well, Sue, I would definitely try out that process of reverse anxiety. I tell you what, go ahead, go to YouTube and go to my channel, and I think you can do a search, and it's called Living in the Now, I think. I think so. So Living in the Now. So I think that if you can do that, there's a 3-step process, which I kind of summarized just the 2 small steps. But go ahead and do that. So I think it's called How to Live in the Now. If not, you'll find it in there somewhere. So awesome. I'm going to probably give the name wrong, but is it Kamiko? Thank you for telling about my clients, and you do yoga and meditation. I do a bit of yoga sometimes, not as much as possible. I mean, my wife actually teaches yoga, so I should be doing a lot more. But yoga is absolutely great, especially if you're working out and you're doing things. It just kind of... By the way, I mean, when I'm talking about my stuff here, I predominantly talk about the mind because that's what I do, okay? That's what I do, so I speak about. I'm not going to speak about things I don't know about because that's unauthentic. But when we talked about meditation a few minutes ago, I really advise meditation. Yoga is awesome. Working out is awesome. Feeding yourself more nourishing things is awesome. That is where we begin to make changes. Okay, so Sarah has actually just posted for us. There's awesome. Thank you, Sarah. You probably know Sarah. She helps out with all the emails and really helps me. So check out that, and it's the Power of Now free hypnosis. And also, Sarah, there is a video as well, which would be helpful, like 3 steps to living in the now. If you can help out that would be great. How do I let go of the fear of men? I'll bring it all the way back down to what's the intention behind that? What are we trying to protect ourselves? And if you look at the last video I did live, that's going to really help you, because that goes into disproving certain of our own belief systems. If we have a fear about men, we not only have a fear, but we have a belief system. So please watch that other live video I did record just yesterday, I think. I think that will help, okay? That will just change things around. Morning to you as well, Maria. Well, morning to you, and late afternoon for me. So what time of day is it for me? I can't tell on my phone. I don't have a watch. But I would say it's around 6 o'clock if yours at 10 a.m. Great, guys. I think I'm about done. We're at that 29-minute and 8-second mark, which is always the time I start to say goodbye to you on here. Luigi said, also declutter your home to let the energy flow. Perfect. You're very welcome, Sue. I hope everyone's enjoying this. If you do, go ahead and like and share it, because it really does help the growth of helping more people to be their true potential. So have a great day, guys. I will speak to you very soon. Many thanks and goodbye.